Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So the question is, when it comes to Alexander Usyk, is he that special of a fighter? Or is it just AJ was just not good enough? Or AJ is just that bad? Or AJ just got exposed? Or AJ is the worst managed and worst trained boxer, heavyweight boxer that we've seen in decades? And those are real questions that are being proposed. Now, for me, one thing I know, and I don't think anybody would argue this, is Usyk in both fights, but in particular, the fight this past weekend, he out-conditioned and out-IQ'd AJ. And I'll say it again, I did a video on this. I think he rope-a-doped him in that 9th round. But it's just hard to out-IQ somebody when you just don't know what to do. After you can't get somebody out to fight early, and then you find yourself in deep waters, and now you're lost. When your strengths, the things that you've depended on to get you out of trouble, to get a win, whether it's by KO or decision, those attributes that you possess, your go-tos, no longer work. And now you're in that ring, and it's getting small. It's getting smaller and smaller by the second, and you don't know what to do. And I honestly feel that's what happened to Anthony Joshua in that first fight. That's what happened to Anthony Joshua after about round 6. The ring started getting small. He no longer knew what to do because all of the assets he had, all of the things he worked on, it just didn't work for him. And, what's unfortunate is, you really couldn't hear what the corner was saying. I really wanted to hear what Robert Garcia was telling him. But the one thing I'll say about Anthony Joshua, his ability to move the way he moved, man, like those first, I'd say 9 rounds. In the 10th round, he started having trouble because Usyk just turned it up a notch. But those first 9 rounds, Anthony Joshua impressed me, man. If you watch how he was changing levels and he was moving and he had all the feints, all the hesitations. He was doing the things to get Usyk out of position. That was impressive, but that's not what needed to happen. Anthony Joshua for this fight, in my opinion, should have been working strictly on his conditioning and fighting in hard and making the fight ugly and imposing his size and power. Anthony Joshua, at one point in the fight, I don't know if you saw, he pulled a Conor McGregor and kind of, they call it the hammer fist. Hammer fisted Usyk in that little pigtail on top of his head. I don't know if you saw that. He did it like 3-4 times. And I'm like, man, he gonna knock that damn little pigtail. He gonna knock that pigtail off the top of Usyk's head. Usyk there looking like a samurai, man. But he looked like he was afraid to be dirty, afraid to hurt Usyk. And Anthony Joshua, we know he's a good guy. But if you don't want to hurt people in the ring anymore, and we can get mad at Deontay Wilder for saying, that he wanted a body on his record, he wanted to kill somebody in the ring. But they're in the hurt business. You almost have to have that mentality. And especially when you're big like these guys. People keep talking about Usyk. Oh, Usyk is a small man. That man is 6'4", almost 6'5", okay? 224 pounds, no fat on him. Just stop taking it to the stupid. Usyk is no small man. He's not a small heavyweight. What are you talking about? And Evander Holyfield wasn't no damn 6'5". I think Riddick Bowe was 6'5". He was considered a monster. So stop. Just because we got Tyson Fury, Wilder, you got these Helleniuses running around here, man. You got the AJs. You got some of the, even Brazil, you got these 6'5", you got these 6'6" to 6'9" height fighters, that doesn't, and they may dwarf Usyk in a sense, but that doesn't make him a small heavyweight. All right, so let's just stop there. But I really feel Anthony Joshua, man, he may have left it all in the gym, because I know for a fact that they were working on a lot of wrestling and grappling and using one arm to tie up the opponent and the free arm, get your shots off. But that's easier said than done. So Anthony Joshua was right what he said when he went up to Usyk and said, "How did you beat me? You're not powerful." I get the rant. The shit was crazy. I still think it was, emotions run through us and things happen. But that's why Anthony Joshua couldn't figure out what happened. Because the only thing he could have done was try to be more flagrant. But you can see, but he had to do it with intelligence. But you can see in I think it was the 11th round and the 12th especially, when AJ was trying to come in, it was almost like just lunging in, being a little reckless. Usyk was hitting him with a 3-punch combination. It was jab, straight left, hook, and roll out. Bing, bing, bing. And it was so fast. And I was like, every time AJ comes in, Usyk gets off this 3-punch combination. And I was like, it was amazing to watch, because I was sitting and I was watching everything. And I was like, he is hitting this man with these combinations and rolling out. And AJ kept coming in. He bing, 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 roll out, bing, 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 roll out. And I was like, that is crazy. So after revisiting the fight, I have to say, AJ, he deserves credit for his performance. But that just tells you, as far as fighting AJ, how good Usyk is. Now, some people are saying that AJ isn't a good measuring stick to say how good Usyk is. Yeah, he out-IQ'd AJ, which isn't hard to do, because it's hard for AJ, who started boxing at, 18, to make up 13 years of experience against a guy like Usyk. Is from what I've read, started boxing at 5, has all that amateur experience. It's hard. And then to just outcondition him, Anthony Joshua ended with any other heavyweight about his stature, he wins. He wins that fight easily because of his IQ, because of the way that he was fighting, because of his stamina. But you just saw what happened with a guy like Usyk, who was putting that constant mental pressure on you, and this also a mental stress on him, and the psychological stress. He was just really stressing Joshua out, especially in the championship rounds. And with Usyk now, we got to look at it. This man can counter you. He gets you out of position. Usyk isn't a guy who just stands there, jab, double jab, go up, jab to the head, jab to the body, let a shot off, take a half a step back, sidestep. He's not that kind of guy. You get him on the ropes, he'd take his outside leg, get it outside of yours, uppercut, right hook, roll out. He's not doing, that's basic stuff that we all learn when we start boxing, okay? That's not what Usyk is doing. Usyk is using his jab hand with the up and down movement and in circles. That's a decoy, man. That's to throw you off. That's to get your mind going and get your mind off of what he's looking to, which is shoot that left or shoot a hook. Or sometimes Usyk will step into you and come back out and not even throw a punch. All that is just to put pressure on you. Psychological pressure, which results in a breakdown in your defense, and it what's that word, man? It stunts your offense. It diffuses you defensively and offensively, and Usyk has been able to do that with all the heavyweights except really for Derek Chisora, because Derek Chisora just doesn't care. Derek Chisora brawled him. He jabbed, came in behind that long jab. He's always dipping to the right, coming behind the jab, then shoots with the right hand, and then he's on him, and he's making it ugly. But Derek Chisora almost paid the price in that fight too. But he made it a tough fight. Usyk said about Derek Chisora, his words were, he's a hard man. So he gave Derek Chisora his props. He said that fight was extremely hard. And with Anthony Joshua in this fight, Usyk his English isn't that good. But he said several times he had to pray to God because it's, how bad he was being hurt. So that tells me that Anthony Joshua wasn't just fighting a man in that ring. He was fighting Usyk, and fighting the spirits surrounding that man. You know what I'm saying? Because Usyk was praying in the corner. I don't even know if you saw it. He was talking. Don't quit. Don't give up. Keep going. God help me. That man was praying because he knew what was in front of him. Joshua's, man, that guy, Joshua, maybe he has freakish power. But even when he was letting his shots go to the body, he was getting them off. And he hurt Usyk badly. But the form wasn't quite there, you know? So I think with, damn phone ringing, man. Hold on, let me close this. So I think with Usyk going forward against a guy like Fury, it's kind of hard to say because Fury has that little herky-jerky weird style as well, you know? And it's just not going to be an easy fight for Fury. I don't think Fury's going to walk through him. I think Fury wins. I just don't think Fury walks through him like we think. Yeah, Fury has this, you know, this ability to hit you with one shot and hurt you and get you out of there. He's got a little bit more reach. He can fight long. He's got the IQ. He has the experience. So he's definitely more equally matched as far as conditioning and IQ. But where they're not evenly matched, and this is where Fury has the advantage, is just his size and reach. And I would even go on to say his power. So we're going to find out just how special Usyk is. The heavyweights that he fought were okay. Anthony Joshua was great, okay? But some people say, well, Anthony Joshua, he was just good. It was the opponents he fought. No, man, you can't knock Anthony Joshua like that. Anthony Joshua is a great heavyweight. Deontay Wilder's a great heavyweight. Fury's a great heavyweight. You know, even Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz, they're great heavyweights. You can't come now and downplay Usyk's victory just because you dislike AJ or you don't agree with the rant. But I genuinely feel Usyk, I think he would beat Wilder. But if Wilder hits him like AJ was able to hit him sometimes, how is Usyk going to react? Wilder has a different type of power. But I think it could end up being like a Luis Ortiz situation, you know? Where Wilder's in there and kind of all over the place, and then that one time Usyk decides, you know, to come in, and, you know, he gets caught. It's like Spilka. Spilka was pretty much having his way with Wilder. Came in, the shot Wilder hit him with, he should have never hit him with, but Wilder won that fight with his eyes because he kept his eyes on the target. So I think that's a Luis Ortiz Wilder fight, Usyk and Wilder. And I'd have to give Usyk, I give him a chance to do better than Ortiz, but at some point in that fight, Wilder's going to land. And you gotta say if Wilder lands cleanly, that shit is over. But man, that's a tough one to call. But, you know, is Usyk, does he have a bit more perseverance, a bit more IQ than Luis Ortiz? I know he has more movement, and that herky-jerky movement throws people off. But I would have to say that Usyk stands a good chance to win that fight, but he'd have to stay away from the Wilder right hand. And what Usyk was doing against Anthony Joshua was very smart. He kept his right foot outside of AJ's left foot the whole night. That's why Anthony Joshua couldn't get that rocket launcher right hand off on him. He couldn't get that missile right hand off on him because Usyk was staying, and when he did land, it wasn't flush because Usyk was rolling to his right. But Usyk couldn't have to do it the whole night with Wilder. But with Usyk and Tyson Fury, we're going to see, man, because Tyson Fury keeps his hands down, and it'll be a boxing match. Usyk isn't a guy to come in and do inside fighting. But it will be a tough fight for both of them. But I think Fury wins just because of his reach and size, boxing ability, IQ, and he has the herky-jerky movements like Usyk. Fury is a big Usyk. It's a big-ass Usyk. He just don't have that damn pigtail on top of his head. But it's the same thing. So I think that when it comes to Usyk, man, he was able to put Joshua under acute pressure. Joshua was able to put him under acute pressure. Usyk handled it better. Usyk, as a result, was able to get a second consecutive victory over Anthony Joshua. The fight was closely contested through the first 6 rounds. But you just started to see Usyk just kind of, his tempo in an astonishing fashion just kind of started to take off, except for that 9th round where Joshua really had a great moment, so like he was going to get him out of there. But in an astonishing fashion, Usyk just took off, and that was it. So it is what it is, man. When you see a guy like that, Usyk, come up from a lighter weight division and able to triumph a split decision like he was able to do, man, it is what it is. And that's what infuriated Anthony Joshua. He just couldn't figure out how somebody who wasn't strong like him, he felt maybe didn't put the work in like he did, was able to come in and beat him. It's just he out IQ'd him and out conditioned him. And that's what it is. It's simple. There's nothing more to it. There's nothing more Joshua could have done. Even if he would have tried to maul him, if you see, and during the fight, Usyk was ready for that because he was able to push AJ off. Joshua couldn't just put his weight on him like Fury did to Wilder. It was a lot of those intangibles that Joshua was bringing into the ring that Usyk was able to intelligently diffuse. But that being said, I could go on and on about this, but I think the fight to make, of course, Usyk and Fury, then AJ and Wilder. That's it, man. We'll see if that happens going in the end of this year with maybe next year for both of them, because who knows what's going to happen. But probably the end of this year, Fury and Usyk. Next year, Joshua's fighting this December. Not sure who his opponent is, but if he gets through that one, which he should, it's supposed to be Dillian White. He'll go knock Dillian White's ass out. Then go into next year, and then we should hopefully get Wilder and AJ. That's the fight to make. That's the fight I want to see. But that being said, man, y'all, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to the veterans. Thanks to everybody who supports me. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of people from all over the world. Really, 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 really appreciate it, man. It means a lot to me. So let's get to 1,000 and let's keep pumping. Y'all keep cool and I'm in the breeze.